Hey, what's going on, guys? All on channel host Sega Forever. Just wanted to do this quick video, and it will be quick. Talking about my thoughts, kind of wrapping up the E3 2022 showcases that we saw last week. I didn't get into detail on other companies. I just basically focused on Xbox, and rightfully so, because I'm a pro Xbox channel. But kind of want to wrap up my thoughts on some of the stuff they showed. I talked about it in a live discussion as far as the Bethesda Xbox showcase that they showed, the 2020 version, which is really good. Hat tip to my boy Hebot for allowing me to be on his podcast and allowing me to give my thoughts on the show, which I thought was excellent. I gave it a 10 out of 10. But a couple days later, Xbox did a extended showcase that I also watched. It took a couple days because this one released during the week, and of course, work for me was busy. Got to do stuff with my kids. Of course, it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there today. And normally I don't do videos like this on Sunday, but I had some time because it is Father's Day, and took some time for myself, which I rarely do. But I wanted to get this video out here because I kind of wanted, like I said, wrap things up as far as the showcases were concerned. And I think this is really important because I'm going to be doing some changes on my channel, more specifically, and I'll do an channel update video specifically for that. I won't do it here. But there are going to be some changes coming to my channel. And again, there will be primarily focusing on Xbox, but also on a lot of the other stuff going on in the gaming community, especially on the Xbox side. I don't normally focus on the other two consoles specifically, unless it's big gaming news. I'll kind of talk about it. But for the most part, like I said, I focus on Xbox. So you're going to start seeing me pivot in the content that I show and the stuff that I start talking about. But the extended showcase to me was really well done. I made a statement on social media. I think I did it on my Twitter account. Now, when I look at something like the extended showcase, because I'm an OG or old school gamer, um, I'm the type of person that likes all the stuff that goes on in the background. I'm also an industry guy. Not saying that I participate in the industry like as far as business and finance and stuff like that. I just like to track it, which a lot of guys my age like to do because we grew up in a time when there wasn't social media, which is probably a better time. But also the internet wasn't so widely used. In fact, when I was growing up, it wasn't used, and then I actually grew up on the ground floors of the internet age, so we get to see this stuff flourish over the last couple of decades. That's how old I am, and I know I'm dating myself, but that's fine. Um, but for guys like me who grew up without all this access that people have, it's a little bit of a different type of feel when it comes to the way that we consume our gaming entertainment, as far as not just the games, but all the news, all the gossip. Showcases like this are kind of made to show off, if you're an Xbox guy, especially what you're going to get to play over the next year, specifically when it comes to the Xbox series of consoles. So, and that applies to Game Pass. So again, growing up in a different type of generation, I look at these kind of things, in a lot more detail and a little bit more analytically, and that's why I like the extended showcase. And the most important thing I think that the extended showcase brings, as far as Microsoft and Xbox is concerned, and guys like myself who actually support the console, um, outside of the mainstream media, outside of all the people that are, hating on Xbox just to hate on them, for those people who are just normies coming to the console. This extended showcase serves a very specific purpose. Now, for the showcase itself, right, if you guys watched it, Microsoft is in this mode of just showing constant gameplay or trailers, right? And they just hit you, they send it out, it hits you, and they just bombard you with it, which I think is pretty cool. And which I thought everybody else thought was cool because that's what they were complaining about, right? Because Microsoft in their showcases would show something and then they would bring out the developers or they talk about it in more detail, and then people were saying it was boring and they wanted to change the pace. And this is why you have the extended showcase, which I think was a great idea for them to do, because it allows people choice, right? So if you just want to look at the gameplay and the trailers and stuff like that, you can do that with the showcase as it is intended to be. Now with the extended stuff, it's focused more towards people that want a deeper dive, like myself. Like I said, on social media, I'm the type of person that'll watch, like I'll buy the Criterion collection of DVDs, or I'll buy like special editions of of music that I like from overseas because they have extra content, and that's extra content that you can get into because you're a fan or you're just interested. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. Like I watch documentaries, I do all this kind of stuff, right? So it kind of fits my bill. So it's made for a person like me. But over the last couple of years, at least from my opinion, I think the Extended Showcase actually serves a greater good, especially for the Xbox community. And when I say Xbox community, I mean people that actually like Xbox, right? Not people that check in and out with Xbox, not people who only get involved in Xbox when there's drama going on. I'm talking about people who actually like the system, likes the games, and wants to see Xbox succeed as the best gaming platform possible. All right, that's the people I'm talking about. So it serves this extended showcase serves a very vital function because what it does is it not only does it show you extended stuff if you wanted to, but it also kind of curbs a lot of the haters that are out there, right? Or a lot of the hot takes and a lot of the first reactions that a lot of people love to do for their YouTube channels. I'm pretty sure you guys saw it because what I did is I watched the original showcase and then I went back out and then I started consuming content. Again, this is why this video is coming late. Consuming content from other avenues of the gaming community, right? And if you do just like I do, you kind of tend to notice that things happen in patterns, right? Because a lot of these guys, I'll just be honest with you, man, they're not gamers and they're not Xbox gamers, most definitely. Or they got a bone to pick with Xbox, or they just hate Xbox. They just don't like Xbox at all. And you see this pattern developing among this stuff where people have these talking points and they start sharing these kind of things. And it's all, if you just tune in just for like, just take a day after the showcase. And if you took a day after the showcase and just went on and just got random information from everywhere, right, you're going to see a lot of different takes. But you do see a pattern develop in those takes. And that pattern basically is anti-Xbox and anti-Bethesda, which I'll do a video about that more specifically. I got content on me, so don't worry. But you see that, right? So, in my opinion, when I looked at Microsoft doing this stuff, and look, Microsoft is the type of company, they do wear their heart on their sleeve. For a lot of you guys who don't think they do, I've gotten them to fire on social media because I think Microsoft is ideological. They're very white knightish, if I'm being honest, right? Even though I support the cons and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I agree with them totally on their politics and some of the stuff that they support. But, the proof is in the pudding. Right. There's people out there that think that Microsoft is just one big greedy corporation. I personally wish they would be, because I can take them better that way. But they do have their ideology and they do have a certain way of doing stuff. So when it comes to things like this, whether it's their ID at Xbox program or diversity in their gaming, all that stuff's out there. That's 100% how they are. Now there is a business aspect of it, right? And I'm pretty sure Microsoft proper looks at that and hope, which I appreciate because it'll help keep some of this stuff from getting out of control. But it is what it is, right? So when Microsoft does these kind of things, I would like to think there's a part of them that realize how the industry is as a whole. And I'm talking about the popular industry of gaming, right? The influencers, the people just doing it for clicks, and people who are brand gamers, mostly on the Sony side, right? And so when they look at this kind of stuff, right, they formulated these ideas where they're like, look, we're not going to get blowback on all these kind of things because it's been happening for the last 5 years, right? No matter what Microsoft has done, how they pivoted, how they've tried to put themselves out there, people just are not giving them their chance. So what Microsoft has been forced to do is just do it themselves. So to me, that's the biggest and the best thing of the extended showcase, right? Because there's a lot of guys out there, especially on the Bethesda side, right, that were talking about the Starfield showcase, which people were complaining, but they got their gameplay. They got Todd Howard to introduce it. Todd Howard was actually talking about the game and how it works. And then when you watch these people's videos, right, whether it's their opinion or not, dude, I'm just saying, people becoming nitpicky, people wondering what's up with the 4K, just all kind of issues that people are having with this stuff. And then they start formulating, off of those issues, they start formulating how they think the game's going to be, even though it's still not out yet. Right? Like, look, I'm the biggest fanboy of a lot of stuff. I love to speculate. I like to do deep dives. I like to do all that kind of stuff, right? But the problem is, a lot of people nowadays don't know how to manage their expectations. Right? And I'm just being perfectly honest about that, dude. I mean, they just can't manage their expectations, and that causes a problem with a lot of this stuff, right? So, case in point, I think Microsoft does these extended showcases because it allows the developers, or it allows Microsoft to kind of address some of the stuff that goes out online. And you saw that case in point. One of the best things about the Bethesda Showcase is they brought Pete Hines, who's the marketing director for Bethesda, and he talked about things as far as Starfield and other games that they have more specifically, right? And when he did that, there's a lot of people, especially on the Bethesda side, right? There's two different types of fan bases here, right? You have people that are on the Xbox side, and they drag along all the people that hate Xbox and all this kind of stuff. But then you guys got to realize that Bethesda has their own fan base. And those are the people I've been kind of focusing on. I'll even put my daughter in there, because my daughter's been playing a lot of Bethesda games to my surprise. For the last year and a half, 2 years, she's really gotten to Fallout. So I had her watch the showcase, and then she had her little, dismisses and criticisms, but also a lot of stuff she liked. But I take her opinion, a lot more into consideration, but she's actually a fan of Fallout, even though she critiques it, right? That's the difference is what you see here. And so allowing somebody like Pete Hines to come in and kind of break it down a little bit to answer some of the questions and some of the doubts that are out there, then you see that pivot. And of course, when they do that, right, you see people that have legitimate questions or legitimate concerns kind of take it in, right? And it's basically a lot of people come away, okay, well, we'll wait and see, or that sounds interesting, or I didn't know you were going to do that, or that makes sense, right? Because, for example, the whole thing with the extended planets and how that's going to happen, and then everybody started bringing up procedural generation, which happens in Fallout, which people know about, but if you're new to the game and then you hear a buzz phrase like that, it just hits the internet and then that crap goes viral and it's all over the place, right? And then so you have someone like Pete Hines talk about it. And in fact, if you guys want to, Todd Howard did an interview with, what's that guy's name, Ryan McCaffrey, over at IGN for the Summerfest, and he broke it down even more. Right, and then what you can do is you can go out and actually find people who are into Bethesda games who do the real deep dives, and they'll give you a better idea of what to expect, right? And it's not this dumpster fire that a lot of people online are making it to be. And that's the sad thing about all of this stuff, man. It's just these people who are influencers online, dude, these guys are not Bethesda fans. Like even I play Fallout, but I don't consider myself a huge Bethesda fan, right? But at least I check myself, and like I said, I manage my expectations, and I just want to have a good game. I'm intrigued by what they're trying to do, right? I'm excited about the possibilities of what you could do in this game. Now, there's some things that I speculate in my own mind. Is that going to happen in Starfield? I don't know. It possibly could. But the stuff that they're showing me now is interesting enough to, it's interesting enough to pique my interest, to want to play the game, right? I'm just not sitting there bitching and moaning about stuff, which a lot of these guys do. And again, this goes back to why I think, I highly recommend that you guys take the time out and watch this stuff, especially if you're curious about the games that are coming out within the next year, because you won't be able to get that stuff online. I'm sorry, that's just not the way it works. That's not gonna happen, because the way it is online, like the way it is on social media, is just a lot of people trying to get clout, a lot of people just hating, right? A lot of people have biases, and it's very obvious. And then you have a lot of people that are just not either educated or don't, they're just not the people you should be listening to. And that's my hat tip to the people that I follow. Right? Like maybe we might not have the best production when it comes to video. Maybe we want to do all the cuts and stuff like that. Like, the way I'm doing this video right now. Right? But the bottom line is definitely this, man. We're definitely Xbox guys. And I'm talking about Hebot, the world's most powerful gamer. Sega Man, all the Exile podcast, dude, guys like Mr. 100. We're just not in it just to get clicks and likes and views or just to start arguments, man. This is stuff that concerns us because we bought into the Microsoft ecosystem as both fans and consumers. And we actually like their content. So it behooves us to check our own biases and stuff like that. But you can take what we say, take it or leave it. But one thing we won't do is just hate on something just to hate on it. We have legitimate complaints and concerns about certain things. We'll voice it. Right? But, this is something my grandmother always told me when I was growing up, man. Don't ever take another person's word for it. Right? Just go do the research yourself or go check stuff out yourself, because, everybody's going to have different opinions, right? Not everybody likes the same thing, so it behooves you to actually go look at this stuff and actually form your own, intelligent thoughts and realize what you like and don't like. Because what I like, you might not like, right? So whatever I say might not matter to you, in the long run. But still, the bottom line is, dude, if you guys want to get the straight skinny, if you guys want to get all the info straight from the horse's mouth, this is what you do. Or you go to a place like Xbox Wire, where this article is from. Right, and they break it down for you, man. This is their business, as far as Xbox Wire is concerned. This is their business. This is what they do. And for something like the Extended Showcase, man, you're going to get information that was not able to be put out when you watched the original Bethesda Xbox Bethesda 2023 Showcase. The first one that they did on that Sunday, last week Sunday. You're not going to get all of that. This is where you get it. So and they did a really great job. They brought the developers in, man. They had a way better production value than just bringing them up on the stage, right? They were able to cut videos. They were able to show stuff specifically, right? And so I definitely would recommend you guys watch it. And again, because when everything's said and done, and these guys end up being wrong, these people that are they're giving their opinions that aren't right, or these insiders that think they get insider information, most of which are wrong. And I'm not talking about speculation. I'm talking about people who are saying, "Yeah, I got pretty good info, and we're pretty sure this is going to happen." When they're wrong, they don't say anything, or they don't backtrack, or they don't come on and they say, "Okay, we were wrong about this." Everything that they say was true. None of these guys are going to do that. So why even deal with them, right? Just go straight to the source, man. This is where the information is. And form your own opinions. Again, you don't have to take my word for it. Look at it yourself. Maybe you might not like a game like Starfield. Maybe you do have a problem with so many worlds as far as time. This thing sounds like it's going to be humongous. One of the complaints like I said I have is going to be able to have time to play this game. Like, I'll make the time, but it's how far in I can get and how long it's going to take. But again, just keep in mind that the reason why Microsoft and Bethesda teamed up with this wasn't just resources, man. It's basically the Game Pass. This is almost like a live service type of game, man. They're going to be building on this game like other Bethesda games, right? If you play other Bethesda games that are still around, like Skyrim with all the modding and stuff like that. Well, this game is a step in the new direction because this is going to be like that from the jump. Right? This is something that they want to build off over years. So all of these concerns that people have about it being too massive and too many planets, this is something built in so that people can enjoy this for years to come. And not just as Bethesda fans or people that like this type of genre or these type of games, but also to help support the Game Pass service. Right? And you guys know I'm a huge fan of Game Pass, so that's right up my alley. Anyway, so 15 minutes in, I'm going to put an end to this video. But again, if you guys want to know the straight scoop on everything, just go watch the extended showcase. I know everybody's busy, right? And maybe this might not be your cup of tea, but look, if you want some information you're not going to get anywhere else, this is what you got to do. And for me personally, there's the Nakata. I think it's the new game coming out next week. It's basically, it looked like a lot of people thought it was like a Souls type game, right, where you'd be battling and stuff like that. But when I watched the video on the showcase, it's basically telling me it's kind of like, for lack of a better word, what is it? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the game. But it's basically it's like playing an online shooter, right? Like just open world online shooter. Right? But instead of using weapons of war, you're basically using weapons, like swords and arrows and whatever abilities you have, right? It's like an over-the-top fantasy type combat game that you'd be playing online with a lot of people. Now, I don't know the particulars. They did showcase some stuff in there I thought was super cool. But I thought that this was coming from Japan, and it's not. The actual developer is from China. And that kind of turned me off because, the design, after I looked at it a little bit more close, I could see that in the design and stuff like that. It has, if you consume a lot of content, especially animation or anime from Japan, and then you know that a lot of stuff's coming out of Southeast Asia and South Korea and China, right? Hong Kong specifically, right? You see that even though there's it looks like anime, each culture has their own little influences and touches on the type of anime that they produce. You see that with a lot of their K-dramas and stuff like that, right, across the board. So, something like that I would have not known because, everything was shown so quickly as far as the trailer, and there's so much stuff to consume, which I think a lot of people had problems with. And that's why hot takes were bad in this situation, because these people were wrong about basically everything. Just go do yourself a favor, right? Just go watch the extended showcase and then make your own, and formulate your own opinions. Now, if you think I'm wrong, and then after you watch it or something you like or you didn't like, then definitely let me know in the comments below. Anyway, again, 18, almost 20 minutes, guys. Like I said, I'll keep these short because my videos tend to run long. That's why I've changed up this format a little bit. And like I said, stay tuned. I'll have other content. But anyway, I gotta go check some other stuff out, man. Play some games. It is Father's Day for all of you guys out there. Have a good Father's Day. As you can tell, the title of my channel's back, Xbox All In. I am your host, Sega Forever. We out.